How did you put together your list?
Well, given the conditions we set for ourselves, so the rules, I started with thinking about who was even alive at the start of the books. Because there's a big difference between start of the books and where we are right now in terms of living.
Yeah, certainly, certainly true.
And then I put all the names down. I kind of just wrote them down, make a large list, and then started to rank them, like give them a little minus, a little plus, 2 pluses, 2 minuses, and so on. And then I derived a smaller list. And then I went to some Reddits, some Quora questions, answers, looked into those, and then, yeah, I kind of put together my final top 5, and then it was really like going with your gut feeling. Because there's not so much difference for me. Like, position 1 was very clear from the beginning, but 2, 3, and for me, 4 and 5, I really had to put a lot of thought into those.
Yeah, I guess sometimes it really comes down to the way that you look at it. Sometimes you really think, he's much stronger than the other guy, but then you look at it from a different angle, think, who would he beat that guy? Would the other guy beat that guy? And it suddenly looks totally different. Yes. And you think, how did he end up so high? I have to put him further down. And then,
there were some characters which on my initial list were quite on the top. And then after thinking about it for a little time and really imagining them in duels with other guys, with other fighters, I was like, okay, he has to go down.
Yeah, I mean, my starting point really was the Deadliest character tournament from Tower of the Hand. I mean, they did this tournament, I think, they did it a long time ago, I think. It's not very recent. It's probably...
Was it for all characters who are in the books? Not only living, but also ancient, like Sir Arthur Dane and stuff like that. Because a lot of the posts I read, there was Sir Arthur Dane.
Yeah, there are a lot of lists where they rank all the characters from all the material, from all the history books and all that. And I think that's really hard to do. I think if you do that, you don't really end up with a satisfying kind of list at the end.
How long back do you go? I mean, you can start with Brandon the Builder.
Yeah, I think you really need to draw the line somewhere, because these guys start to get all that legendary. I mean, what do you do if you make this list with people from way back? I mean, you basically have to go with Azor Ahai. But what do we really know about the guy? And he even is the last hero and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you don't even know who is who. Is he the same guy or is he not the same guy? How do you rank that? You can't. You basically can't. And
I agree. You have to draw some kind of line.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. So, which fighters are quite interesting? And
I could be on this list, but isn't.
And I have an interesting name to start with, because I was, really thinking a lot about him. Is he a top-notch fighter? He definitely is, but would he win in duel situations? I'm talking about Khal Drogo.
Yeah, Drogo is certainly a very strong fighter.
It's a hard choice with him, because he's such a strong fighter, as he is described in the books, never lost, and all of that is going for him. But then I thought, okay, he's Dothraki, so if he fights a Westerosi knight with armor,
that's the problem.
Big shield.
Totally agree here. That's the real problem. To beat a knight, he would need some kind of armor, some kind of protection. You cannot beat a knight bare-chested with his arak. That won't work. He would need some kind of protection. But he has no experience with that kind of protection. That's his problem.
So if he fights any of the guys from our list, maybe except Barristan, without armor, I think he has a very good chance.
Yeah, he's a very good shot. I think from our list, the next best one is Oberyn Martell here.
Yeah.
I think Oberyn, because Oberyn would know how to fight a Dothraki. He probably has seen Dothraki fight all the time.
Yeah, he probably has fought many in his times.
He probably has used an arak before, because an arak is really a good weapon. And it's a very good weapon if you fight people without armor.
Yeah.
Because you have all this cutting potential.
You have a lot
going
of
for
angles
you.
going for you. You can use a lot of combinations.
Because cutting is basically worthless against a
knight.
fighter in complete armor.
Mhm.
But against an unarmored body, an Arak is perfect because you have all this cutting potential. You have this round curve and you can cut every way with it.
Yeah, and you can put many little cuts into other persons, which eventually will slow them down. Yeah. And the longer the fight goes on, the higher your chances of winning. But as you say, with an armored knight, all of that advantage is gone.
Definitely, because where do you want to cut him? There's no chance to cut him anywhere.
I mean, there are small
but you can
small places,
can poke
but it's really hard to find them.
Yeah, and how do you put an Arak in there? That's basically impossible. You can stab in there with a knife, with a spear, with a sword, everything. But I mean, the Arak, that must be completely awkward to push this little point of the Arak somewhere in some of those little places. Nearly impossible.
Yeah.
So that's the real problem with this guy. Let's see what else we have on the list. We talked about her before, Brienne. Brienne is really good, but not quite top 5, top 3, probably scratching top 10 or something.
Yeah, like I would say scratching top 10.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a strong fighter in the books and in the series. I think we still will see some of her potential in the upcoming books.
Yeah. I mean, she beats
Most
Loras.
importantly, Loras. She beats Loras.
Yeah, she beats Loras. That's something, certainly. But on the other hand, Loras is not Garland. And not even Garland is on our top 3 here.
But Garland would be an interesting choice.
He's tough.
He's
right,
tough.
Yeah.
Like
it's
what
really,
it said, like in this one line, it's written that he likes to train fighting 3 or 4 guys at once.
Yeah. And that's really impressive, right?
Yeah.
That's impressive. And we should also not forget, he really plays an important role in the Battle of the Blackwater.
Mm-hmm.
He rides in there in Renly's armor. I mean, of course, it's not only skill at arms that's required here. It's also just about, look, it's Renly's ghost and all that. But he really knows his way around the battlefield. And he really knows how to use his weapons. He's a really strong guy. And intelligent. He's very intelligent.
Yes. Way more than Loras.
Yeah, I would think so, yeah.
Loras is kind of the show-off fighter for tournaments and stuff like that.
He has no place on this list. Nowhere.
I think
Not
any of these guys would crush him in a real fight.
Indeed.
Fight to the
without
death.
Without a horse.
And the
They would
lance.
crush him. Yeah. I mean, what does he do with the lance without a horse? That would be a funny fight. Give him a lance, but no horse.
Okay.
All right. What else do we have? Gregor Clegane.
Well, I mean, Gregor Clegane is an interesting fighter to discuss because on so many lists he will be number 1 because of his sheer power and his brutality. For me, it was like I had him on the list at first. Also, very much it was one of the first names I've written down, the mountain Gregor Clegane, because he's such a beast.
Yep, for me,
But
basically.
I can't imagine him winning against those guys in real duels.
That was basically my litmus test before putting somebody on the list. Would he beat Gregor Clegane? Would he find a way to beat Gregor Clegane? That was basically the first question that I asked myself with these guys.
Not with pure power, but would he find a way? That's really
exactly. Would he find a way?
The best question.
Would he be able to deal with this disadvantage? Would he be able to beat this giant, this huge guy with this incredible strength? That was basically my litmus test for everybody to put them on this list. Because Gregor is certainly very, very strong. He's very good. But I think there are 10 guys who would beat him. Probably more. Probably 20 guys or something like that.
Would you say Sandor Clegane?
Yeah.
Can
I
beat
would
him?
pick. I would pick Sandor over Gregor.
I had Sandor over Gregor.
Yeah. It's tough, of course. But I would pick Sandor over him. The real problem I see with Gregor is really, I think he has more power than is good for him. Because he relies on that power.
Yeah.
He probably never had to learn all those techniques as well as other guys.
Technique
because
is
he
here
could
the key
just
factor.
he could just rely on his power too much.
Yeah.
And you get lazy. Because you see, why do I need to get better at this? I can just smash his face in or something.
Yeah, and like
I mean, not quite like that, but I guess you know where I'm going here.
if we compare him to, for example, Barristan Selmy,
Yeah.
on the one hand we have this guy with great technique, great talent, great work ethics, and on the other hand, a guy who's really, really, really big and strong, but that's it.
Exactly. I mean, the really, really good fighters, they have practiced really, how do I beat this guy? How do I beat that guy? What can I do to get an advantage over every kind of opponent that I can face? And really practice that all the time. And that's not something that I see with Gregor. I mean, he's certainly fit and he's trained, definitely.
Yeah,
But
he's
probably
quick
not-
for his
yeah.
size, like Bron says in the
definitely.
books. He's freakishly quick for a man of his size and all of that. But I don't think that he's trying to get into the minds of his opponents and think about ways, okay, what are his advantages, what are
Exactly.
his disadvantages, how
Yeah.
can I use them? He's just like, okay, I go in, I smash him, and that's it.
Grey Worm. Also interesting. Also very interesting.
I haven't had him on the list.
I was really thinking quite hard about him. Why did you not even consider him on your list? I mean, there's this one argument that goes against Grey Worm. There's this argument, okay, he knows how to fight in a line, but he probably doesn't know how to fight in a duo.
That's it.
I think that's a misconception. I really think that's a misconception. These guys, yeah, they usually fight in lines. But can you even imagine their hard training? Do we really think they practice nothing but fighting in a long line with spears? Do we really think that?
No, but fighting as a group. I think they really are trained to fight as a group. Not
Certainly.
as an individualist, but as a unit.
Yeah, that's certainly a focus. That's
They
certainly
are
a focus.
fearless, I give you that.
But I mean, isn't that true for everybody? I mean, what do knights practice? The first thing a knight practices, and most people on our lists are knights, they practice on a horse with a lance. That's a lot of what they do, for
But they
example.
also practice a lot of one-on-ones.
Yeah,
in
they
the courts
do.
with their
They
master
do.
at arms.
Yeah, they do. But their main focus is also the battlefield, not the one-on-one situation. That's true for knights and that's true
Yeah,
for
but-
Unsullied.
Okay, but even practicing it and exercising it in real battles, in real situations, is a huge difference.
Yeah.
So, Grey Worm, even if he has practiced fighting duels, fighting one-on-ones, can't think of
But he has probably practiced
many
it to the death.
situations where he really did it.
Yeah, but he has probably practiced it to the death. I mean, think about how they trained those Unsullied, right?
But their main focus was on fighting as a unit.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
practicing like
That's
a unit.
true.
I think duel or one-on-ones was a smaller part.
Yeah,
So-
I probably think so too. Yeah.
I don't want to question the strength of Grey Worm and that he's a good fighter, but he's not top 10 for me.
I mean, we probably don't know enough about him. But I would not be surprised. I would really not be surprised if in a future book we see him going one-on-one with a really, really strong fighter and he beats him. I would not be surprised at all.
It would be interesting to see
Probably-
him going against one of the strong fighters that's
Yeah.
left. Maybe Garland.
Yeah. Or even in Marine right now. Maybe he will be fighting Victarion.
Yeah, that would
Maybe
be
he will
interesting.
be fighting Darion Naharis.
I would love to see that.
I would love to see that. I would love to see him
Ripped to
Dario
pieces.
apart completely. Bloody ribbons, all that shit. I would love that.
Okay, do we have another name?
A man can hope. Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
Syrio
yeah.
Forel. What do we think about him?
Really tough to evaluate.
Indeed, yeah.
First sword of Bravos.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get that title without.
Yeah, he must be very good. He must be very good, certainly. And we really saw that he's very good. I mean, with a wooden practice sword, right?
yeah.
I mean, and we don't even know if he's dead. He might have survived all that stuff. He just might.
I would love if that theory would turn out to be true.
Yeah, I would like
because he's such a great guy. He's such a cool character.
Yeah.
He goes toe to toe with knights with the practice sword,
Mm.
which is like really a good achievement, a great achievement. And
He's also one of the very few characters that were probably a tiny bit even more interesting on the show.
yes,
I think that was really nice. I really liked that. That was when the show was really, really good back in the day. I mean, I nearly put him on my list. I mean, he's a bit like Victarion. I mean, not,
he's so interesting, but you don't know enough to
exactly.
to
That's
put
my
him in the
point.
top
That's my
category.
point. He might be up there, and I would not be surprised. I would really not be surprised. Let's imagine he's still alive and we see him fight again. I would really not be surprised if he beats one of my top 3 here.
No, I wouldn't be, except for Barristan Selmy. He
Yeah,
can't
even
beat him
that.
anymore. But
Yeah, well, he might. In the books, he might.
oh yeah, in the books he might,
Yeah.
because in the books Barristan Selmy wasn't butchered like a kid in the streets.
Yeah. That was terrible.
It was
That
also terrible for Grey Worm, if
Yeah.
we're on the topic, because he's also on the list.
Yeah, they all looked very, very terrible there.
Yeah.
Looked very terrible.
Okay.
Euron Greyjoy.
Okay, there's the other Greyjoy.
Yeah. What to say about Euron Greyjoy? He's really, like a couple of guys we have already talked about, we do not really know what this guy is capable of. I mean, he traveled everywhere, basically. He could be very strong by now, but we really haven't seen him fight at all. Like, at all.
And in our rules, we said no special weapons,
Exactly. The
no
rules,
special armor,
yeah. Our rules
With
are
his
certainly...
Valyrian-
Yeah.
with his Valyrian armor.
Yeah, that's certainly a huge disadvantage. If we hadn't put in this rule, he would be up there. I mean, if everybody could use the weapons and the armor he wants to use, he would have to be up there. How do you beat a guy with Valyrian steel armor? How do you do that?
And because he's the first character we have met in the books or anywhere who has Valyrian armor,
I mean, that's something
we really don't know what it can do or not.
Yeah.
So can it be pierced by
probably not.
normal
We
swords?
don't know. Maybe you have no chance getting through that armor in any way. We don't know.
And I think the chances are very high that he also has a Valyrian sword.
Yeah.
So if you get the armor somehow,
Yeah, I mean, the armor is so much rarer than the swords.
Yes.
I mean, those swords are rare. But the armor, that's something people in Westeros basically never have heard. They never have heard that these even exist, right? I mean,
yeah, that was for me
that's
like
crazy shit, right?
that
That's
was
bad.
with that chapter. Before I already considered Euron a very, very dangerous character, but after reading that chapter, it became like crystal clear.
Indeed, yeah. You probably know our series. We have made a series on Euron, and we talked about him in our last video a bit. So incredible. And we really start to get the first idea about what is coming with him.
We have seen some glimpses
Yeah.
of his
No
potential. Brutality wise, strategic,
Yeah.
his resources. He can be a real badass character in the upcoming
Yeah.
books.
We really have no idea what he's capable of physically. We don't even know that. That's another point. We really don't know. Tormund Giantsbane.
He's one of the strongest 3-4 characters.
The big problem with him is, of course, he's very old. He's very old already.
But
And
we
have
talk about-
Yeah, but that's the problem. We don't really know how good he was back in the day. Because the story of his life is really clouded in legend. I mean, he's telling us these stories about
His big
having sex
member.
with a bear and all that stuff, right? We have no idea what's true here and what's not.
Again, with him, I think it speaks for him to get that old as
Yeah,
living
certainly, yeah.
north of the wall.
And of course, one more thing about him. There are people out there who are convinced that he's Sir Arthur Dayne.
Are there?
There are.
Okay,
And if
I've
that's
never
true-
heard that theory.
Yeah, you know, the story goes like every time he talks about his member, he's actually talking about Dawn. You know? It's hilarious.
Oh god.
I mean, it's interesting. It's like one of those conspiracy theories that are so elaborate that it starts to really,
Makes sense.
yeah,
in
in
a
a
weird
way.
way.
I mean, you know that it's not true,
But you
but
want
still,
it to be true.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, you're still not convinced, you know. But yeah, it's interesting.
On that note, we should do a video about the most cool theories and the most disturbing theories.
Yeah.
There's this one about Gregor. I think that is really cool. With the diamonds and
yeah, that's connected. That's actually connected to this one. So we might do that at some point. So probably let's go on with Balwas. What do we think about strong Balwas?
Well, raised in the fighting pits, champion in the fighting pits, which is quite an achievement.
Yeah.
Very strong in that regard. But again, I think like with Drogo,
yeah,
if you match him against a well-seasoned, well-trained, experienced fighter, if you match him with a knight, I can't see him win that many duels against the top tier guys.
Yeah. Again, he doesn't know how to use armor, probably. He probably has never done that.
He's limited in his weapons of choice.
Yeah, and his enormous size would probably not even go very well with armor. He would need special armor.
Yeah, it would be way too slow.
Yeah, it would probably not work very well for him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why he's so fat, right? Gladiators in Rome also were quite fat. I mean, not totally obese or something like that, but a bit of fat really helps.
Why is that?
Imagine that. If somebody cuts you and he only cuts into the fat,
okay,
that's
so
fine.
It's like
if the guy really
a
has
ring
a
of
six-pack,
protection.
Yeah, that's really true. I mean,
so that your muscle is not.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise, if you are really, really thin and buff, the other guy really cuts straight into your muscles, and then what do? I mean,
that's right for fighting in the fighting pits.
Yeah.
But give him an armor, and that's out of the window. So
exactly,
and that's why he shouldn't be in the top tier list.
This advantage is completely gone.
Yeah.
If he's forced to wear armor, because then you don't need that. People will really only attack these little spots where you can punch a dagger in or a sword or something like that. So.
But it would still be very interesting to see him match up.
Yeah.
With a knight.
Indeed, that would be interesting. Would also be interesting if we would have this kind of contest here just with fighting pit rules.
Yes.
He would probably be way up there.
Yeah.
I mean, Drogo would certainly be far up there.
Oberyn again.
Oberyn again. Those would probably be good choices.
We wouldn't want to, but we would have to include Dario.
Yeah, maybe, indeed, yeah. Maybe also Gregor.
Yeah, because of his power is then again a big factor.
Indeed, because without armor, power is more important. And yeah, I don't know. How is this described in the books? Is he totally buff, or is he also a bit of fat around?
I don't know.
His body? We don't really know. Probably it's not said. But well, if I think about the Mountain from the show, he would really exactly have this kind of a bit of fat around his body to protect him. Yeah. Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And yeah,
that's it. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, share, comment, and make sure to visit the shit out of our blog.